Right, guys, welcome back to the channel and to this Codex Death Guard review. A massive thank you to Games Workshop for allowing us to preview Codex Death Guard. And I'm absolutely privileged today to have with me one of the biggest Death Guard fans out there, Mr. Daniel Alstrom.
Thank you, and hello everyone.
Of course, this is Daniel's debut on the channel. Daniel has very kindly agreed to review this with me. I did ask Ian, but Ian was busy. So, yeah, Daniel is a massive Death Guard fan. Lots and lots of conversions. Feel free to have a look at them in the Death Guard group. They're all over the place. But we've had a good read of this, Daniel. And would you agree that it actually is a decent book?
Yeah, it's decent, like it's more reword like a night edition. Even if some stuff have been lost, it's just me to speed up the game for the faction.
Yeah, absolutely. Despite this being covered in filth and rot, it doesn't leave a sour taste in my mouth, like what some of the other books that have released so far in 9th have. So I'm very happy with that. So, there is some pretty big changes though, guys. We're not going to cover points because the points were covered in the Minotaurum Field Manual FAQ. But there is lots of cool artwork and pictures and models in here. What we will cover though, before we get too deep into the rules for stratagems and stuff, the detachment abilities have changed somewhat, Daniel.
Yeah.
So for diseased minions, for example, you can't include more plague follower units than bubonic Astartes core infantry. So for example, your terminators, your plague marines and stuff are your core infantry. You can't take more poxwalkers or cultists than you have units of those. Which, it kind of makes sense.
You're not a zombie game army, you are a Death Guard.
Exactly. We've got Infernal Jealousy, so you can include a maximum of one Lord of the Death Guard and include a maximum of one Demon Prince per detachment. So very much in the same vein that Space Marines can only take one captain. And rightly so.
Yeah, and there's like both the Chaos Lord and the Chaos Lord Terminator are Lord of Death Guard. The Lord of Contagion and Lord of Virulence are also Lord of Death Guard.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got quite a few choices, but you can only take one per detachment. Something else that I thought was quite cool, though, is the Forted Virion. So very similar to the Space Marine Lieutenants, where you can take two for a HQ detachment. You can actually take three of the elite characters and only take up one battlefield slot. I can't see an instance where you would need more than 6, though, if you're running a battalion. But certainly if you're running a patrol, that comes in very handy.
Yeah, because like a battalion have like 5 elite slot, and depends if you're only using a lot of elite, like all the Dreadnought version from Forward, if you still want to use them, and a lot of Terminators.
Yeah, exactly. And of course the rules for inexorable advance were amended. That was already previewed on the community page. So the unit counts as having remained stationary if it did not fall back or advance. Cool. If the unit has the vehicle keyword, it doesn't suffer the penalty for hit rolls firing heavy weapons whilst it's in engagement range of enemies. And if this unit has the infantry keyword, it can ignore any and all modifiers to its move characteristic, advance roll, and charge rolls. That's massive.
Yeah, it helps a lot with the Terminator and Death Guard loose moving forward, like people, I'm gonna stand behind this forest. Oh, wait.
Yeah, exactly. Plus the fact the Terminator's got an extra inch of movement.
And they did lose the 4+ environment save, they still have it.
Yep, which was fantastic, because a lot of people weren't too happy with the Relic Terminator squad in the Space Marine book. Essentially combining Cataphracti and Tartarus Terminator armor.
Yeah, they combine them in one same and still use the normal Terminator rules.
Yeah. But we still have the 4 invulnerable save, which is absolutely fantastic.
Except for one mod that don't have it.
You what?
Chaos Sorcerer in Terminator armor don't have a 4+ environment save. He only have 5.
Wow. Shouldn't you have like a sigil of corruption or something to get the 4+?
No, because sorcerers normally don't ever have an invulnerable save, but like they're still gonna have the we don't have a specific death guard sorcerer in Terminator armor, so you're just gonna the generic mod Chaos Terminator kit that you make a Lord or Sorcerer with.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Moving on to the rest of the abilities for Death Guard. Plague Weapon is still a thing. You still get to reroll wound rolls of a 1. Cool. Remorseless. Each time a combat attrition test is taken for this unit, ignore any and all modifiers. They've now essentially got and they shall know no fear.
Yeah.
Which is, it's cool. They've got malicious volleys, no change there. They've got disgusting resilient, which basically was amended, and I know a lot of people didn't like this at first. But let's face it, Daniel, a 5-up shrug on everything. Bearing in mind Plague Marines are at 2 wounds and the Terminators are at 3. It slowed the game down massively because people would roll very, very hot, and it was so infuriating. Just passing 5-up after 5-up.
Yeah, and also delays because I need to roll for this mod that gets 5 a damage 5 attack or something like that. Okay, yeah, I'll say 1 of 10.
Yeah, exactly. They also gained Contagions of Nurgle. And what this does, the Nurgle's Gift Contagion, which is the generic one that comes with the army, subtract 1 from the toughness characteristic of models in an enemy unit, whilst they are within range of, and depending on the battle round, depends on the number of inches. So battle round 1, for example, is 1 inch, battle round 2 is 3, battle round 3 is 6 inches, and battle round 4 or more, that's a 9-inch bubble of reducing the enemy's toughness by 1.
Yep, and you can increase it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that. Suddenly you're running around, and like if you're going against Imperial Knights, that's toughness 7 knights. Toughness 7 knights. That means that your Mephitic Blight Haulers and your Plague Burst Crawlers, all of their weapons are wounding it on 3s.
Yeah, makes them a lot more dangerous, mostly also with all more damage on a lot of their weapons now.
Absolutely. You'll notice that there's 2 things missing though, Daniel.
Yeah, but one is mostly a unit special rule, one is the army rule that we got in the same time with all the Space Marine and Chaos get the buff in the old edition.
Mm-hmm. We don't have Hateful Assault.
And all the starters don't have the Death to the False Emperor either.
Nope. No Death to the False... I mean, let's face it, everyone forgot Death to the False Emperor anyway. Mostly.
Mostly you maybe only remember it on your characters.
Demon Prince.
Yeah.
But to lose Death to the False Emperor as well, I was quite surprised at.
Yeah, many was like speculating, are we losing the Hateful Assault, getting 1 basic attack instead, or are we losing Death to the False Emperor? Yeah, we lost both.
Yeah. So that's all the detachment rules, and bearing in mind, like, you do get quite a lot there when you lump it all together. -1 damage, permanently counter stand still, which is better than the rapid fire at 18 that we used to get. You've now got and they shall know no fear, and you've got a aura of -1 toughness, and you ignore movement. Like, that's so good.
Yeah. Even though people gonna like the rapid fire plasma gun is not that good anymore because not the 18, and rapid fire bolting is only affecting characters that are not in terms of armor, Plague Marines with bolters, and Chaos Lord with a combi bolter or bolter.
Yeah. So, we shall take a look at some of the units and the stuff that has changed. One thing I noticed about the Demon Prince is you only get 1 extra attack for having a Malefic Talons.
Yeah, it's like pairs, but I think it's gonna be like with when using lightning claws, because lightning claws gives you one additional attack.
Yeah, exactly.
But it got weaker.
Absolutely. Strength user, -1, 2 damage. One thing I do like though about the Codex is they've used the picture of the horrible Finecast model, but it is such a it's such a cool Nurgle demon print.
It's the only one, because the auto one, that plastic, was like, yeah, it works for the whole auto tree, but Death Guard,
Yeah. Yeah. Beyond that, there's not really that much of a change to him. He obviously gives reroll ones. He's got 5 invulnerable save. He is.
It's actually, his sword is giving him 2+ strength, 1+ strength now, AP3 damage 3. The axe is giving one, is identical to the previous version, except it's not AP3, it's AP2 now, and don't suffer burden minus the hit.
Actually, yeah, that's a very good point. +2 strength, that makes him strength 9.
Yeah,
Wow.
that you mostly only need to against battling T9 units when you make everything one else 1- toughness now.
Yeah, that's.
But that deflect all the facts, and also interest with the changes stats. Like, if you can only take the flamer if he's on not have wings and have the sword.
Yeah.
But he still keep the talon before you replaced it. And the wings for this Deshkar version only get movement 10 instead of 12 all auto ones get.
I wonder if that is going to change going forward then.
Or they try to make them different, because fly on a monster makes they can actually fly over, and because if they don't have wings, they cannot go through buildings.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Typhus. I'll be honest, Daniel, I haven't looked at Typhus's rules yet.
He's listed different, like his ranged attack with the Plague Fly have instead been ability now that makes mortal wounds now.
Yeah.
And his old buff for some Poxwalkers only give 1+ to strength now.
Yeah. Moving on, we've got the Death Guard Chaos Lord. So this is your generic Chaos Lord, but of course they gave him an extra wound and an extra toughness. Gave him Disgust and Resilience as well, which is... He always should have had this. There was no reason for him not to have this, Daniel.
Yeah, and that's have been a long problem since like 4th edition for the Chaos Space Marine. Yeah, you get Mark of Nurgle. Oh wait, I don't have rules like a Plague Marine.
Yeah, so of course the Chaos Lord in Terminator armor also reflects that, with the +1 wound, +1 toughness as well, and getting Disgusting Resilience and everything. One of the new guys that we've got though, the new model that is on pre-order today, the Lord of Virulence. I think this guy's actually alright.
He is okay, like he still have the real ones for like Chaos Lord, because he is a Lord.
Yeah.
And he gives, even like the community first said he was buffing Demon Engines and Bombardment. He's only buffing core units and making their weapons better, small percent.
I didn't realise that the community article had said that.
Yeah, they also, that was because when this was posted like some days ago, they added a post that talked about this new character. Or article, if you say the right way, with this is Lord Virulence, this is what he do.
And he doesn't.
Yeah, it's like with the Space Marine fortification that was like, oh, you can defrag it. You can't. Right?
Yeah. So what you actually allow us to do is each time a model in a unit within 6 of him makes a ranged attack with a plague weapon, and a modified wound roll of a 6 improves the AP by 1. It's not amazing.
Yeah, and also you need to have a plague weapon, so it's gonna be limited to like 4 in every squad, except if you need to use stratagems to make a weapon to plague.
Actually, yes, because there is a stratagem to turn your bolt rounds into plague weapons, so that actually would come in useful.
Yeah.
So he's 120 points. He's the same as a Lord of Contagion, and I think he's better than a Lord of Contagion. He's got a twin plague spitter. It's a twin heavy flamer basically, that has the plague weapon rule, and then he's got a plague claw, which is a power fist.
Obviously with the plague rule.
With plague weapon, yeah, of course. I think he's pretty good for 120 points.
His stats line is the same as a Lord of Contagion. Like he's more for the support your own units.
Yeah. Whereas the Lord of Contagion can and will make mincemeat of stuff in combat.
Oh yeah.
So the Plague Reaper, strength times 2, -3, 3 damage. But then if you've ever bought the Lord Felthius box set, you can basically swap out the Plague Reaper for the Man Reaper, and an Orb of Desiccation as well. It's only one shot per game, but it's a grenade 3d3, strength 4 -1, 2 damage, and it's a plague weapon, and it's blast.
It's okay, or like once used, like okay, I'm within 6, let's throw it.
Yeah, exactly. What he does have though is add 3 inches to the contagion range of all contagion abilities this model has. So straight away, he starts at a 4-inch range of -1 toughness, and of course at maximum from turn 4 onwards, 12-inch range of this guy is -1 toughness. That's insane.
It's like good, and also then if you have the plague company specific contagion, you also get that.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, the one thing we forgot with Typus, except we see already with Lord Contagion, they have added that the Lord Contagion gives the Chaos Lord out with reroll hit rolls of 1.
Yeah, which he always should have had.
Yeah, because he's the first captain of the Death Guard. So, Captain, no, I don't have reroll 1s for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a Death Guard Sorcerer in Terminator armor, which again is the generic kit, but essentially, yeah, he's got +1 wound, he's got +1 toughness. Cool.
Yeah.
The Malignant Plague Caster, not much is any different. If he casts a spell and it's 7 or more, the closest enemy unit within 12 suffers a mortal wound. It's okay.
Yeah, that's little change, and the other one is more like his pistol now is optional, but I think that is because of the Space Marine Hero set 3 Malignant Plaguecaster don't have a bolt pistol.
Yeah.
And the overall doing mortal wounds was before 7, now it's 12.
Ah, right. So they've increased the range on that. Now, this page confused me to death. After you've sat and read it, Daniel, what do you think of the Plague Marine data slate?
It's actually easy. For me, at least after, because when I read it, I was like, first, but then, we can do that now. Because the change is like, you can take one specific weapon for every 5 model. Except some have restrictions, like, you can still take, one Plague Marine can take a Blight Launcher, one Plague Marine can take a Plague Spewer. They are a separate point in that War Guild list.
Yeah.
So we can make the easy way to make a 10-man squad, we do that easy. So every close combat option you had before, you can take maximum 2. So you can take Great Plague Cleaver, 2 of them. You can take 2 Flame Corruption. You could not take that before because you need to choose one of them, but you can take both of them now in a 10-man squad. You can take Mace Contagion, a Bone Axe, 2 Bubotic Axe, or 2 with Plague Knife because you are limited still, that is 10, but you have a champion.
Yeah, so it's 1 in 5, so yeah. The one that got me was for every 5 models in the unit, 1 Plague Marine's bowgun can be replaced with a Plague Knife. That doesn't make sense. Like, if they all want Plague Knives, give them all Plague Knives.
Yeah. The only thing I see why they did this is because you are limited what you get in a box, but you still need to buy 2, and then you get all the option in this table to do for 10-man squad. That's the way I see it. And
Yeah.
also with the war gear option, like people wondering what did the Icon of Despair do and Seal of Decay, that is a new war gear version of them.
Yeah. The thing that changed and that I noted as well is in relation to the special weapons. So, for example, I would run squads of 5, right? And I'd give the champion a plasma gun, and then I'd give 2 marines a blight launcher, right? You can only actually replace 1 model in the unit with a blight launcher. However,
Continue.
if this unit contains 10, 1 additional can take it. So you've got to take the full 10 models to get 2 blight launchers or 2 plague spitters. However, for every 5 models in this unit, 1 plague marine's bolt gun can be replaced with a melter gun or plasma gun. So you could actually take 2 plasma and 2 blight launcher in a 10-man squad.
And the one for the champion also. So you can have a total, actually 6 special guns. You can have 2 plasma guns, 2 blight launchers, not 3 plasma guns, 2 blight launchers, and 1 plague spewer.
Yeah.
Or you just make the squad run with 4 flamers and play Mortarian Chosen Sons.
Yeah. The fact that you can also only take 10 in a unit now, I'm guilty of running, I think I ran a squad of 17 once. And
that was my list I gave you for a long time back.
yes. But when you consider the fact that Plague Marines have got 2 wounds each now, and 2 attacks each now instead of 1, then you can kind of understand why they're now only in units of 10.
Yeah.
So, yeah, check your squads, see what you've got your models equipped with. Really take your time with reading the Plague Marine War Scroll. There's a lot of possibilities and change within the Plague Marine squad.
Yeah, you think of them like, for me when I checked out, okay, they are close to compared to Chaos Space Marine Chosen because you can have up to 6 special weapon in the squad and a lot of combat options.
Yeah, exactly.
And Flail of Corruption era have ended.
Yes, I forgot that actually, because I was waiting till I got the Terminators. The Flail of Corruption damage does not spill over.
And you only get to make 2 hit rolls per attack per model, so a Plague Marine have 4 attacks with it.
Did it used to be 3 attacks?
It was D3 per attack.
Yeah.
And the new war gear, should we talk about the new Icon of Despair and Seal of Decay?
Yes, I can't remember where they are though. Oh, there they are.
The war gear up on war gear option.
Yeah, so in your morale phase, roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within engagement range of the bearer's unit, and on a 4+, the enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. You're doing damage in the morale phase.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing. Well, like, what is the icon? And then remember, you can only take both this sigil and icon. You can only take the model with a bolter. Yeah. And the fun thing is, the only mod that actually have an icon of despair, basically Games Workshop model, is the mod that you can, with a banner-looking thing, you must buy for itself.
Yeah.
And the sigil is the flight thing that you have 1 Plague Marine holding.
Ah, I didn't realise that. But there we go. Each time an attack is made with a bolt weapon by a model in the bearer's unit, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 automatically wounds the target. That is so good.
Yeah, if you're focused on having a squad of 10 with only bolters, you can just take that one. Like, yeah, a small bonus. I think it was like 5 or 10 points for them, something like that.
And then make them plague weapons.
Oh yeah, let's go.
But there's even ways to buff this. I mean, I know that says an unmodified hit roll of a 6. There is ways to get pluses to hit.
Yeah, with characters you don't think should do that.
Yeah, that was odd. We've still got 2 other troop options though. We've got cultists. There's not really much to say about cultists.
Nope, they're like before, except they are not core.
Nope, they're not. And poxwalkers are not core either. But as per the community article, they are now a flat weapon skill 4. You don't have to have 10 to hit on 4s anymore. It's just weapon skill 4. And they are toughness 4 base now.
Yes.
Lots of people asking, oh no, well, they're useless now, they've lost the 5-up shrug. They went down to 5 points each, and they've still got an inbuilt 6-up shrug. It's called Unending Horde. They automatically pass morale. They cannot perform actions either.
Except one specific they say on a page 39, I think for say, yeah, page 39, the specific action, I don't know if it's used for normal or crusade, whatever. It's some kind of action that's specific in this book.
Yeah. It's the... it's one of the specific secondaries to the Death Guard that it can do. That's it. That's all it can do.
And also, they have Contagion of Nurgle, so they still give the 1- toughness to enemies, so they're gonna would toughness 4 units on force.
Yeah, exactly, because even though they're... Well, and then if you've got Typhus behind them, of course, makes them strength 4, so yeah, that would buff them quite well. Moving on to the elite characters, though, these changed quite a bit, and I think most of them for the better.
Yeah.
So the noxious blightbringer, his main rules that changed was sickening vitality. Basically, any units within 6 get +1 to their move and advance rolls. Great.
Yeah.
Considering you now ignore penalties to movement, and your Terminators are moving 5 inches now instead of 4, giving +1 movement across your army is pretty good.
Yeah, it's like you increase tech if you 5 inches total extra for a whole 5-turn game.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, it is only core units, so we wouldn't give the +1 to the Poxwalkers, which is a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. And while an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, subtract 1 from the combat attrition test taken for that unit. Can you make models run on a 3, Daniel?
Yes.
He's pretty handy.
Yeah, he had before, like with the leadership modifier, but for like, oh, you get 1 minus leadership. Oh, are you a psyker? -2. Okay, great. It sounds like asking why.
Yep. The foul blight spawn.
Also, we forget he also gives psykers 1- to cast within 6 of him.
Yeah, but is he getting to within 6 of a psyker?
If they want to hug him.
Yeah. Foul blight spawn. Rip. Their flamers are nowhere near as good as what they were. They're more consistent, which is good, but you can't pray for those lucky rolls. So it's just a flat strength 7 now. -3, 2 damage, and of course it's a plague weapon. So I believe it used to be damage 3 and strength 2d6.
Yeah, there was before 2d6 strength and damage 3, and you have the auto stretch them because the stretch that was specific for him before have disappeared.
Yeah.
And also his unholy death head grenade is not a special he gives to auto characters. He himself throws the grenade now.
Which makes sense. He still allows an enemy unit within 3 to fight after all of your models have fought as well, which is still pretty handy.
Yeah, he's like I get the new chaplain character that is elite in the Space Marine. I don't remember his name.
The Judicia.
Yeah, he's the identical special rule.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of similarities between this and the Space Marine book, in particular with some of the stratagems and stuff as well. It's not a bad thing, because obviously they're all appropriately worded, and honestly, it wasn't until I thought, oh, that's in the Space Marine book. Oh, that's a... Oh. So, yeah, if you're not that familiar with the Space Marine book, you probably wouldn't notice, but if you do play Space Marines, like myself, there is a lot of things in here that are very, very similar or do the same thing. So it helps speed the game up as well, I think, and just make it flow a lot easier.
Yeah. And you still can make Full Blight Spawn better, but you need to pay points because you have the Plague Weapon upgrades. They are not counted as relics, but you cannot put them on relics.
Yeah, exactly. The Contagions were okay. I don't think any of them are massive, but we will get to them a little bit later. But the Biologus Putrefier, he changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's got obviously his injector pistol and hyper blight grenades as well. But the blight racks, while a friendly bubonic Astartes unit is within 6, blight grenade models in that unit are equipped with have an armor penetration characteristic of -1 and a damage characteristic of 2.
Yeah, that reworked it because the old version given him a strength 4 blight grenades and damage 2, but they given him its 8 instead.
Yeah. Putrid Explosion, he can explode and do mortal wounds on a 4+ to stuff around him that's not Nurgle. However, Foul Infusion. Once per turn at the start of either your charge phase or the fight phase, you can select one friendly Plague Company core unit within 6 of this model, and until the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack with a plague weapon, an unmodified wound roll of a 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target in addition to any normal damage. Hello, bubonic axes and swords on Terminators.
Think of Death Shroud more. They have 8 attacks with a Reaping Slice and 10 on the Champ.
Yeah. That's savage. I need me some Death Shrouds.
I already find one out to combo with Death Shroud, but it costs points.
Yeah. Yeah. But honestly, there's so many ways to do mortal wounds on 6s to hit and wounds and improving the AP. Honestly, there's so many combos that you can pull off in this book that I like this. I genuinely like this book. And I think this is the first book of 9th edition that I've actually read and went, I like that. Because, yeah, me heart sank with the Blood Angel book, but I like this one. I do like this book.
That's kind of different because the Death Guard was more of new army they made for 8th edition, so it was easy for them. Like, Death Guard get a lot of support characters you normally don't see with auto armies before in the older edition. You only see, here's HQ, done. But like, so it's easy for them to make Death Guard a faction that works different than authors in 8th and 9th. And
Yeah.
Space Marine have the alls. Yeah, this is Space Marine. This is how they should work.
No, I agree. The Tallyman. So, in your command phase, this model can tally one friendly Plague Company core unit within 6. And until the start of your next command phase, each time this model makes an attack, add 1 to their hit rolls. Wow.
Yeah, both shooting and close combat, so any hit roll, so good for any mixed unit, like Plague Marine's gonna rush in with knives, with bolter fire on the way in, and
Yeah.
Light Lord, the Terminator with combi bolters or whatever they want to have use.
That's just you +1. That's fantastic. Yeah. That's so good. And like, if you consider like the combi bolters on Blight Lords, making them plague weapons, and there is ways to re-roll all wounds on plague weapons and do mortal wounds on plague weapons and stuff, giving them +1 to hit as well. And of course, if you're doing the mortal wounds on 6s to hit, which I think is one of the stratagems, yeah, like I think this guy is a must take because the 7-fold chant at the start of your command phase, roll 2 dice, and on a 7+ gain a command point.
Yeah, his subpar rule that actually got a function now.
Yeah, like that's so good. Just getting you've got a 50-50 chance of getting an extra command point every turn.
Yeah, and he's still the support guy meant to be, because before he gave it, reroll fail hit rolls, and if you use a stretch maybe if I roll a 7, I get command points.
Yeah. Yeah. Because obviously Disgusting Resilience 5+ Shrug went away compared to what we used to, me and Daniel actually speculated about what they were going to do with the Plague Surgeon, and I said I think they'll make him like the Space Marine Apothecary. And they almost did. Almost. So, at the end of your movement phase, he can heal a friendly Bubonic Astartes infantry model within 3. The model regains up to D3 lost wounds, but he can't get a model back up, and there's no stratagems for it.
Yeah, this is sad, but like they said in lore, like normally the Death Guard never dies, so the Plague Sire doesn't really care to take care of others.
No, but he does give units within 3 inches a 6-up shrug.
Yep, he is apothecary. He's here to do his stuff from he was started with.
Which, considering you're reducing damage by 1 on all your Plague Marines and Terminators, man, like, that 6-up shrug is still really clutch.
Yeah, like if someone is trying to smash you with a damage 3 whooper becomes damage 2 and you say 1/6, then we're not like need to try to kill that model.
Yeah, exactly. Blightlord Terminators didn't change too much. They are still mostly what they were. Obviously, they've got 3 wounds each now and 3 attacks base, which is very good. But the rust rule that was on the axes and swords, where you improve the AP by 1 if you roll a 6 to wound, I think, that's gone.
Yeah.
And the flail, obviously, you only get 2 attacks per attack now. Yeah, you still, you've got 3 attacks, you're still making 6. It is still 2 damage, but the damage does not spill over.
Yeah. It's still good, but it's not like before. But there is one strategy that make up for it.
Yeah, but I think it's still too costly. We'll get to that a little bit later. But the fact that the Blightlord Terminators do get movement 5 is really good. That extra inch makes a difference. It really does. Next up, though, we've got Death Shroud Terminators.
Oh wait, we go back to Blightlord Terminator because the Wargear option thing have changed also like Plague Marines, but not in the big same way. Well, sort of. Because you can only have 2 combi flamers now per. If you have 10-man squad, we say again easy. You can have 2 combi flamers, 2 combi melta, 2 combi plasma, 2 flavor corruption. But now you can have 2 blight launchers and 2 plague spewers. You cannot have that anymore. You can maximum 2 of any of the special fire weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, so just be careful when you're reading the Wargear options for them in the Plague Marines, because it is a little bit unclear for some people, I think. But yeah, Death Shroud Terminators, man. Wow. So good. 4 attacks each base, and if you consider their Man Reapers making 2 attacks per attack, wow. And they have Chimes of Contagion to increase the range of the Contagion abilities by 3 inches. So that's a 4-inch bubble from turn 1 for -1 toughness.
Yeah.
I just think that's so good.
Yeah, and also they are very good for what now, they're like 50 points per model, and they still are bodyguards and all the auto rules, but they are a hybrid unit. You can go against elite units and do good, or you can go, oh, a lot of chaff.
Yep. Because of course they will be swinging at strength 7, and obviously anything that was toughness 7, you're then going to be wounding on 3s because of the contagion. It's good. It's really good. I like it a lot. But moving on, 2 of probably Daniel's favourite units, Possessed and Chaos Spawn.
Fun thing, I have no Death Guard spawns because I was waiting for nice models. Chaos Possessed, I mean, not Chaos Spawn. Chaos Spawn I converted.
But still, these guys, I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, they are upgrade with the stats, like they say, they have 4 attack base now, and T5 because they are in Death Guard and Plague Weapon.
And they've got Disgusting Resilient, and they've got the Contagion as well.
And they are core still, like, so you can still have the reroll ones for them, and all the buff from characters that need to have core.
That's so good. You've got 4 attacks each, right? Hitting on 3s. You're wounding anything that's T4, you're wounding on 3s anyway, but T5, you'd still technically wound on 3s because you'd be down to 4 because of your -1 toughness. Like it makes such a big difference. And then, of course, keeping them alive for a bit longer with the new Disgusting Resilience. This is so good. I want some.
People like, let's take Blight Kings from Sigmar and Mark III power armor.
Oh, that's a good shout. Chaos Spawn, of course, toughness 5. They have the Contagion of Nurgle as well, but they don't get Disgusting Resilience.
Not here.
No.
But they also changed really small stats. Like, before they have D6 attack plus Hateful Assault, now they have 2 DT attacks per model now.
Yeah.
And their Fearsome Aura, they give 1 minus leadership, was before engaged ranks. It's a 6-inch aura now.
Which is handy.
And their Grasping 2, the one that gives you normally 2 attacks, gives you a model units roll 3d3 attacks per model instead.
Yeah.
So they can still get 9 attacks for a 23 points model. Alright.
Yeah, absolutely. Hellbrutes, they got Contagions, but they don't have Disgusting Resilience.
Nope, and of course, why do they want to stack? We saw what happened with Iron Hands.
Yeah. However, we did get Monstrous Resilience, which is essentially Duty Eternal.
Yeah.
So that helps it. Oh, which is basically Disgusting Resilience then.
Yeah. That's why they don't want to stack like the happen with Iron Hands. Like, okay, you take 1 less damage, you take another less damage, you take half. Oh, wait.
Yeah, exactly.
The Frenzy rule changed totally.
The which rule, sorry?
Frenzy.
Yeah, each time this model makes an attack, if it has 7 or fewer wounds remaining, re-roll a wound roll of a 1. That's so. As soon as you've took a wound, you re-roll once to wound with them.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a lot better because the old version was like, oh yeah, I took damage, roll die. Oh, I rolled a 5, nothing happened. Oh, I rolled 6. Okay, I can shoot again randomly.
Yeah, and it's the fact that like you probably how many dice have you rolled to shoot again and not shot because you just didn't roll a 6?
Many times because it's one of the small. Here's a rule that maybe happens on this unit sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on though to the Demon engines. Myphitic Blight Haulers, Forted Bloat Drones, and Plague Burst Crawlers. All got Ballistic Skill 3+.
Yep, and 1 attack more than previous incarnation, but every old demon is gonna have these Weapon Skill and Ballistic Skill 3 as a standard now instead of 4.
Yeah. From what I can see, I don't think Myphitic Blight Haulers actually changed.
Nope.
Other than that.
They are technically the same as before.
Yep. However, Forted Bloat Drones. Obviously, the Plague Spitters aren't necessarily as good now because you can't retreat and shoot.
But you can still see even combat and fire and everything like that.
Which is still good. But the Flesh Mower. +1 strength, so strength 7. -2. 2 damage. You've got 4 attacks base. You get to make 3 attacks per attack. 3.
Yep. 12 attack, and you're just gonna say, hello. Oh, hey, Primaris, you wanna die today?
12 attacks per bloat drone. 12. And it's a plague weapon. Which means you've got all the other buffs that we've mentioned before, like 6s to do mortal wounds, auto wound, and stuff like that. That is so good.
Yeah.
So good. Other than that, they're pretty much the same. Obviously, the Plague Spitter isn't strength user anymore. It's strength 6. It is what it is.
Yeah. And they're 9 wounds now, so they don't degrade like before. Like, okay, I have 10 wounds, I degrade.
I didn't notice that. I didn't realise I had 10 wounds before.
Because it feels like, oh, it looks like a big size of dreadnought. No, it's have 10 wounds for some reason.
Dimorphitic Blighthallers used to have 7 wounds then, because they've got 9 now.
No, Malfatti Blight. Oh, they had 8 before. They were technically the same stat line as a dreadnought.
Right.
But they gained an additional wood for some reason.
I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain. So, Plague Burst Crawlers. These changed.
Yeah, for the better.
Absolutely for the better. 12 wounds, toughness 8. They've got disgusting resilience, contagions of Nurgle, and they're 5 up invulnerable. The Plague Mortar, in my opinion, is a lot better than what it was.
Yeah, with the perma damage 2 instead of D3, it makes it more reliable.
Yep, and of course it's still a plague weapon. It's blast. Plague Spitter, like we said, is only strength 6. However, the entropy cannons. Now, Ian always tells me off for running entropy cannons, right? And I preferred them over the flamers. But Ian was like, no, you want the flamers, just push them up the board. Okay. However, the entropy cannon is now a plague weapon and it's D3 plus 3 damage. Minimum 4 damage.
Yeah, it's like an upgrade from from Psych Awakening. They give it like, oh, minimum 3 damage and Plague Whoop, and they give it to everyone that's nearby from one Plagueburst Crawler, but they changed it now to a basic own rule instead.
Like, that is so much more reliable now.
Yeah, most of it also is Ballistic Skill 3 plus now standard. Before like 4, you never like. Nah.
Exactly. And then, of course, in 8th edition, if you did move, you were at -1.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, do I want to move? No.
And I think if you take the entropy cannon, then you're probably still going to take the heavy slugger, because the entropy cannon is range 36, the heavy slugger is range 36. Fine.
Yeah.
However, I think if people like the Plague Spitters still and want to run them, I think there's genuine argument to take the Rothail volley gun now instead, because it's range 24, but it's rapid 3, which means as soon as you're in Plague Spitter range, you've got 6 shots with that now.
Yeah.
And it's strength 6.
Yeah, it was strength 6 before, but it was only heavy 4.
Yeah.
No, heavy 3 it was, but 8B 2, so it lost 1 8B, but gain a rapid 3 profile instead.
Which is so much better, and I think you're either going to take Plague Spitters and the Rothail, or you're going to take Entropy Cannons and Heavy Slugger. I don't think it's worth mixing them any other way around.
Oh.
Moving on past that, we've got Chaos Land Raiders and Predators. They do get the contagions of Nurgle, but beyond that, it's a standard Land Raider, it's a standard Predator, and so forth. That's it. Nothing else really changed with them. Defilers are in the book. They do get contagions, but you can't give it Disgust and Resilience like what you could in Psychic Awakening by paying them command points to give it that 5-up shrug. Little bit of a shame, but again, it is what it is.
Yeah. Because people spam like 3 Defiler and played Poxmonger, had 3 of them rushing forward and say, hello.
Yeah, absolutely.
But one interesting thing I saw, because well, technically 2, is the Fire Cannon was before normal Lemur's Battle Cannon. And before it was D3 damage, now it's 3 damage all the time.
I wonder if the battle cannon's going to change then.
Probably, because why should a big cannon that's like long and big is just gonna 1 damage? Wait, what?
Yeah.
And the Defiler Scourge don't have damage 3 anymore; they are damage 2.
Yeah. Yeah. So minor changes with the weapons and stuff. Then we've got Mortarion. I don't think we need to cover everything with Mortarion because he was showcased on the community page. But like what Chapter Masters and stuff get, he has Primarch of the Death Guard rule, so he can pick 1 Death Guard core or character unit within 6, and they get reroll hit rolls. And of course, anybody within 6 inches of him that is a core unit gets reroll hit rolls of a 1 as well.
Yeah.
He has Host of Plagues. So in addition to his 3 Warlord traits that he gets, which are fantastic by the way, you can pick one of the 7 from the Plague Companies as well. So you can change him around a little bit based on what's in the rest of your army, and that's pretty good. And Toxic Presence. He always counts the battle round as being 4 for the purposes of determined contagion range. Turn 1, he's got a 9-inch bubble of -1 toughness. You chuck him forward at something, and then you have all your other stuff firing like behind him. Like your Plague Burst Crawlers, your Mephitic Blight Haulers, even Bolters. Like, he's going to help them out so much as well.
And be the big distraction carnifex he always are.
Yeah, you're still going to cast Miasma on him, which is great. He has the Warlord trait is the one that allows you to reroll wounds for plague weapons, which did change slightly. He's also got Revolting Resilience, which is a 5-up shrug, and there was one more which I don't remember off the top of my head. Now,
it means 3-inch aura that makes the units don't get their aura buffs.
Yes, the Warlord trait for that, which is pretty. It's coming in pretty clutch as well. I was a little bit surprised he didn't get a cap on the number of wounds per turn that he can take, like what the Catan and Gazgul did.
Yeah, it's like a little weird, but people need to apply and test him and see, because like the Catan 9 wounds, okay, can be easy if you had like 2-3 phases you can do it. Gazgul 12 wounds.
Yeah, exactly. So as much as Morty's got 18 wounds, why can't you just say he can take a maximum of 6 wounds per phase? That's still 3 phases to max out his wounds.
Yeah.
I think they could have done it. But it is what it is.
Wait for next book coming in 5+ years.
Right. Jumping backwards, further back in the book, we'll take a quick look at the psychic powers, the warlord traits, pathogens, and relics. As for the deadly pathogens, you can basically give a Death Guard character one of these upgrades. I don't think any of these are that great, Daniel.
You can also give them to unit champions.
Yeah, that as well. Most of them are 20 points, 2 of them are 10, 1 is 15. But like one of them, Acidic Malady, 20 points to improve the AP by 1.
Yeah, so 20 point, 1 plus strength and AP. 10, 15 points, 15 there, maximum 20 is too much.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the other stuff is as well, like Corrosive Filth. Each time an attack is made with this weapon against a vehicle, add 1 to the damage characteristic. That one's okay.
That's good for the 4 Blight Spawn.
Yes.
And you're strength 8 and you're doing damage 3 again on vehicles.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, if you're within range on turn sort of 2 or 3, you could also reduce their toughness. It's okay. None of them are great. I don't think they're not worth the point.
And let's see, Warrant Fever was one favorite of mine. That was 20 points. The only one I can see, like the one that gives you additional mortal wood on a wood roll 6.
Yeah.
Put it on the Death Shroud champion. Have that Belogis Putrefy. Give that ability you make mortal woods on 6s. Every 6 that Death Shroud champion do makes 2 mortal woods additionally.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Then you have Death Shroud champion, if you take also the cloud things, mostly 100 points.
Yeah. Warlord traits. Typhus has to take Shamble Rot. Shamble Rot is one of the Plague Company's warlord traits. But the 6 generic ones is Revolting Resilience, which is a 5-up shrug. Living Plague, which is a 3-inch aura of switching off aura abilities from enemies, excluding psychic powers. And then Arch Contaminator is the other one that Mortarion has, which did change. So models within 6 of the Warlord can reroll wound rolls with plague weapons in the fight phase, or they can reroll wound rolls in the shooting phase if the unit that they are targeting is within 12 of them. So they did change that slightly.
Yeah, like before, you used effectively army units within 7.
Yeah.
Now it's more core, and you need to be close to the enemy.
Yeah, exactly. We've got Rotten Constitution, +1 to the Warlord's toughness, and ignore AP -1 and -2.
Really good if you have a 2+ arm, say like Terminators, taking the supporting plate relic and other stuff.
You mean like a lot of Contagion?
Yeah.
Because I totally haven't done that to Lucy, I swear.
Shield.
Yeah. We've then got Hulk and Physique, +1 to the wounds as well, and basically they get transhuman. They're not hurt on a 1 to 3. Fantastic.
It's good if you're battling armies that have a lot of high strength or getting bonus to wood rolls. Oh, Blood Angers. Oh, hey, you fail at 3.
Yeah. The Contagion Discipline. I'll realise the Blades of Putrefaction went.
Yeah, but you can take off that Logos Putrifier is replacement for it.
Yeah. Miasma Pestilence, casting value of 6. Any Death Guard unit within 18, -1 to hit. Gift of Contagion. I like this one now. Pick an enemy unit within 18. Casting value of 5. Subtract 1 from their strength. If you roll in 8 or more, subtract 1 from the strength and attacks.
That's like...
Yeah, I like that one. We've got Plague Wind as well. Casting value of 6. Roll 1d6 for each model in the unit. And for each 6, the unit suffers 1 mortal wound. If you rolled a 9 or more, it's on a 5+.
These are classic spell many space armies have, like Space Wolf had it identical, and it's got this buff also. So if every army in future had this psychic power still, it's gonna be the same. Yeah,
they are, like I said earlier, there's a lot of similarities between this and the Space Marine book. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Putrescent Vitality, though, add 1 to the strength and toughness of your models. Curse of the Leper, an enemy unit that is within 18 invisible, roll 7d6, and for each dice result that exceeds the enemy's toughness, it suffers 1 mortal wound. That's okay, depending if, it's low toughness models. And Gift of Plagues, pick a friendly Death Guard unit within 18. Until the start of your next psychic phase, add 6 inches to the range of any contagion abilities, up to a maximum of 12.
Let's replace the Blightbringer. We got one that is thematic or super doctrine, we can say that.
Yeah. The relics are okay. You've still got the Fugaris Helm, which adds 3 inches to the bearer's aura abilities up to a maximum of 12. The Suppurating Plate changed slightly. So now, rather than just passing your save, for each save you pass, you roll a dice. You need a 2+ to do the wounds now. So there is a possibility for that to fail. But the way they've worded that, that's not uncommon with a lot of changes that they've made to the game in general.
It's wrong. The bear need to lose a wood to take it effect.
Ah.
So it's been nerfed before, like, okay, hit me with all your orc boys, I have 2+ save. Now it's like, oh, I need to suffer damage.
It's lost any wounds, so do you only get to roll once and that's it? Because it says...
Depending how it's repeated, sometimes they word it like wrong, and that's like, okay, any wood... wait, what?
One thing that I like, though, is the Toll Keeper. While a friendly Plague Company core unit is within 6 of the bearer, each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack and a modified hit roll of a 6 scores 1 additional hit, bearing in mind you've got the Tallyman there behind your core unit to give them +1 to hit anyway. and then you generate an extra hits on a 6.
Yeah, that was in Psychic Awakening from a specific company, but it was only affecting in close combat, but it affected all units.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different work now, but like, is they making like the Taliban support for mixed combat and shooting, and this one just make hey, Blood of Terminators, go forward and shoot everything.
Yeah. So, plague companies, Daniel, there's 7 of them.
Classic number.
Yeah, so there is 7. If you make an entire detachment, one of these 7 plague companies, you can use their warlord trait, their relic, and in each case there's also a stratagem for each of the plague companies as well. So 7 altogether, which is very useful, and of course Mortarion can take one of these 7 warlord traits in addition to his normal 3. So yeah, each one is a little bit flavoursome and kind of helps buff certain units. Which ones should we cover first, Daniel?
The Harbingers.
Yeah. So the Harbingers stratagem, it's called Harbingers. Use this stratagem in the fight phase when a Harbinger Poxwalker unit from your army is selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit rolls.
Yep, same as there was in the Psychic Awakening book, they had it.
Yeah, and it's good because they're not core, so you can't give them rerolls any other way.
Yeah.
Also very handy for one of the stratagems. I will mention it now, actually. When I find it. Mutant Strain. Use this stratagem in the fight phase when a Poxwalker unit from your army is selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack is made by a model in the unit, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 does 1 mortal wound in addition, and an unmodified hit roll of a 1, you suffer a mortal wound. You can combine them to re-roll everything to try and get more 6s and try and get less 1s.
Yeah.
So pretty decent. The warlord trait for this one though is Shamble Rot. While an enemy unit, excluding vehicle units, is within contagion range of this unit, at the start of your opponent's movement phase, roll 1d6 subtracting 1 if that enemy unit has a character, and on a 4+, they suffer 1 mortal wound, and on a 6 they suffer d3. It's okay.
It's a buff deck. Okay, Nurgle, everything take mortal wounds.
Yep.
Fine.
And the relic is a Harbinger's model only. Once per battle at the end of your movement phase, you can select 1 objective marker within 3 of the bearer. While the bearer is on the battlefield, that objective marker has the Contagions of Nurgle ability and is considered to have all the same contagion abilities that the bearer has. Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. When they had a long time ago, they had like a character that could do some of the objective markers, but here's it's back again in a test way.
Yeah, pretty cool. The next one is the Inexorable. So they've got a stratagem. Use it in your opponent's charge phase when one of your units from your army is selected as the target of a charge. Until the end of that phase, subtract 2 from charge rolls. It's alright. It's pretty useful, especially if people are deep strike and 9 inches away. They now need an 11 to make the charge.
Yeah, that was also us in Psychic Awakening, but it was only for the weakest. Now it's for any unit.
Yeah. The Warlord trait, Ferric Blight. While an enemy unit is within contagion range, each time an attack is made by a friendly Inexorable unit, improve the AP by 1. That's pretty decent.
Yeah, like they had also a Psychic Awakening, but it was only for against weak. So it's like, yeah, but now it's like actually become AP 1 minus. Good one if you're using this plague company.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice that all the 9th edition codexes are incorporating a lot of stuff that was in Psychic Awakening as well. Almost like Psychic Awakening was preparing us for the new codexes. So it's nice that a lot of this stuff has carried over.
Yeah, and like many authors, like all publication, like the Vigilus campaign, like here's some stuff they are testing and see what we go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. The next one we've got is Mortarion's Anvil. Use the stratagem.
You forgot the relic.
Oh, sorry. Inexorable model only. This is the Leech Spore Casket. Each time an enemy model is destroyed as a result of a melee attack made by the bearer, select one friendly inexorable unit one vehicle within 18. That model regains 1 lost wound. No more than 3 wounds can be regained. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's a nice raid. Like all of these abilities was the same, like in Psychic Awakening, but are made a little different.
Yeah. Definitely reworded and changed around to benefit 9th edition. Mortarian's Anvil. Use the stratagem in your opponent's charge phase when an enemy unit finishes a charge move. Select any number of Mortarian's Anvil units from your army within 3 of that enemy unit. Until the end of the phase, the selected units can perform an heroic intervention. That's nice.
Yeah, before it was like, oh, used in the enemy the charge phases. Oh yeah, this unit can heroic intervention. Now it's like, oh, you're coming close with that unit. Everyone got them.
Yep. Very, very clutch. Especially if you've got like heavy hitting combat units like Death Shrouds or Blight Lords, or even a combat focused Plague Marine army.
Yeah, and more Anvil in the lore is actually having a lot of Terminators.
Right. Fair enough. The Warlord trait is Gloaming Bloat. Basically, whilst you're within contagion range, the enemy can't fire Overwatch or set to defend. And each time a model in that enemy unit makes an attack, the hit roll and wound roll cannot be re-rolled. That's pretty good.
Yeah, if you're fighting an enemy like that have a lot of Overwatch, Tau.
Yep, just switch off Overwatch simply for being. For example, with Morty, right, he's got obviously the 9-inch range from turn 1 anyway, and just go, oh look, I advanced forward. Now that your whole army can't Overwatch.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. And then we've got Insect Hive, Mortarian's Anvil model only. Each time the bearer makes a melee attack, you can reroll the hit roll and reroll the wound roll. That's pretty good.
The wood roll is kind of interesting. Okay, reroll wood rolls. Yeah, I rerolled the 2s only because everything is plague weapon.
True, but the fact that you can give your character reroll hit rolls of a 1 and reroll all wound rolls is pretty decent.
And it also works if you have 1 minus to hit, like the Lord of Reputation that have 1 minus to hit with its Plague Reapers or Man Reapers.
Yeah. The Wretched. This one's my favourite. So the 7-fold Blessing stratagem, basically you can make a Psyker, and he must have the Wretched Psyker keyword. So if, like Mortarion, doesn't have the Plague Company keyword, you can't use this on Mortarion. I already looked at this. Basically, they know 1 additional psychic power, and once per psychic phase, you can re-roll 1 psychic test taken for that model. So that's, if your psych is lasting 5 rounds, that's 5 CP that you're spending for the sake of paying 1 at the beginning of the game. I think that's quite good.
Yeah, there also was one of like Psychic Awakening, but you didn't get actual psychic power in that book.
Yeah. And the Warlord trait is pretty good as well. Eater Plague. While an enemy unit is within contagion range of this unit, each time an attack made by a friendly Wretched model against that enemy unit, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 automatically wounds the target. This also confers to ranged weapons.
Yep.
And of course, an unmodified hit automatically wounds. There's things to get additional hits on a 6 and mortal wounds. You can, if you really overlap your buffs, you can make 1 squad quite scary.
Yeah.
And the relic, the Torrent of Putrefaction. Each time this model successfully manifests a psychic power, if the result of the psychic test was 7 or more, the closest enemy unit within 12 suffers D3 mortal wounds. Otherwise, the closest enemy unit within 6 suffers 1 mortal wound. It has to be a plague caster. and it's replacing his normal ability. So basically, it improves the damage that he does.
Yeah, it also got a little nerf from the previous edition or version, because the previous version, if you roll a 7+, you get to choose our enemy within 7.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's always the closest, so it's like, fair enough.
Yeah. We've got the Poxmongers. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when a Poxmonger demon engine from your army is selected to shoot. This is Bilious Blood Rush stratagem for 1 CP. Models in that unit can make attacks with blast weapons against units within engagement range of their own unit. And each time a ranged attack is made with a model in that unit against an enemy unit that is within engagement range, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. So that's okay. It's okay.
It's good depending on your unit. Like if you have a 3-man unit of Mephitic Light Howlers, you're gonna wreck some shit damage because they have like hits on 2s.
Yeah.
And also we forgot with Mephitic Light Howlers, they don't give the light cover aura anymore.
No, they just get the -1 to hit.
Yeah, in close combat, so it's like they cannot defend your auto infantry models anymore.
Yeah, that's a shame, but yeah. With 2 wounds and stuff now and reducing damage, you can understand why that was removed. The Warlord trait is the Sangus Flux. While an enemy unit is within contagion range, subtract 1 from the leadership and subtract 1 from the combat attrition tests. That's another -1 to combat attrition. So I think we mentioned something earlier as well that was also -1. You could have models running away on 4s.
Yep.
That's pretty, yeah. And then the relic, we've got the Iron Clot Furnace. In your command phase, you can select 1 friendly Poxmonger's Demon Engine within 6 of the bearer, and until the start of your next command phase, models in that unit have a 4+ invulnerable save. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, because the Poxmongers in the previous Codex and Psychic Awakening, the Poxmongers was in the Torment all the time because that relic gave it back then 6 inch to every unit. Now it's only 1, that more balanced, like how the Spaceman characters did have aura, but become 1 unit only.
Yeah. We've then got the Ferryman. Undroning Wings is their stratagem. Use the stratagem in your command phase and select 1 Ferryman Forted Virion model from your army. Then select 1 of that model's aura abilities. Until the start of your next command phase, add 6 inches to the range of that model's selected aura ability. That is pretty good. Imagine that 12-inch bubble of 6-up Shrug on your Plague Surgeon.
Yeah, and you also include, become 9, and if you have Figari's Helm, you become 12 then. It's like, oh, hello.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty good. The Warlord trait, the Droning. While an enemy unit is within contagion range of this model, at the start of your opponent's movement phase, half the enemy's unit's move characteristic until the end of the phase. That's good.
Yeah, and also it's like all units, so like if people try to move weak attached damage and only have movement 3, it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna escape this.
No, especially if Mortarian's up there as well. I know I keep banging on about Mortarion, but he's so good now.
Yeah, with all the abilities and like T8, 1 less damage, and a 5+ shrug, and all other things. Make him actually, and he's a demon primarch. He should be scary.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We've got the relic, the Ferryman, which is a Man Reaper replacement. So each time an attack is made with this weapon, select 1 of the profiles. You can either cleave or scythe. If you cleave, you need to subtract 1 from the hit rolls. And if you scythe, you get to make 3 attacks. It's +3 and +1 strength. It's -3 and -1, and 2 damage and 1 damage. For the scythe, that's pretty decent.
Yeah, it's like the only buff compared to a normal Man Reaper is that you gain, when you do the shite ability, you get 3 hits instead of 2.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Yeah. Then we've got Mortarion's Chosen, the Plague Brewer's stratagem for 1 CP. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase When a Mortarian chosen Sun's unit from your army is selected to shoot. Until the end of the phase, Plague Belchers, Plague Spurt Gauntlets, and Plague Spewer models in that unit are equipped with have a damage characteristic of 2. That's not bad.
Yeah, mostly it's also a lot better now because like Plague Marines you can actually have 4 flamers now. The only thing I hope they add when they make the Areta, because it's always going to be after book, is because this Lord of Virulence Flamer cannot use this.
Yeah.
It's a small deal, but like,
Yeah. The Warlord trait is Nurgle's Fruit. While an enemy unit is within contagion range, each time an attack is made by a friendly model against that unit, the target does not receive the benefits of cover against the attack. Pretty cool. Cover is a little bit more important now in 9th edition than it was in 8th. But I just think there's other things that I'd rather take out of the Plague companies.
Yeah, more Treasure of the Sons was like good before because you could upgrade the Plague Surgeon with it. That was one of the second, but now I can think that more Treasure of the Sons is not that interesting like before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we've got the Vomitrix, which is the relic for its. So it's anybody equipped with a Plague Sprayer. It becomes Assault 7, Strength 7, -3, 2 damage. So a little improvement there on the standard one.
Yeah, because this is identical same relic from Psychic Awakening. So me and men sound speculative. Is this probably the new kind of profile they're gonna give it?
Yeah. Moving on to stratagems. There's a lot of stuff here, Daniel, that is very, very Reminescent of the Space Marine book. It's not a bad thing. There's stratagems for almost each unit. They definitely encourage you to try and use more of them. And I feel like there's more stratagems here that I would use than in the Space Marine book.
Yeah, because Space Marine's like, okay, smoke launchers.
Yeah.
Oh, the pressure on reavers. Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. I'll cover a lot of these quite briefly. Some of them don't need full details. Trench Fighters lets Plague Marine units with Plague Knives make an additional attack. Cool. 1 CP. That basically gives your Plague Marines an extra attack.
Yeah, so 31 attack if you have full 10-man squad.
Yeah, exactly. Creeping Blight. When one of your units is selected to fight until the end of the phase, each time a model in the unit makes an attack with a Plague weapon, and a modified wound roll of a 6 has AP -4. How good is that combined with Trench Fighters if you have Plague Marines charge a squad of Intercessors?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. We've got Fire Fever for Hellbrutes. When they are selected to shoot until the end of the phase, the model can only target a single eligible enemy unit. However, you can add 1 to the hit roll and add 1 to the wound roll. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it helps like when you're normally hitting stuff on trees and woody stuff on trees, like, oh, now wood and hit on 2s. Yay.
Yeah, exactly. Vermid Whispers is for Terminators. You can give them +1 to hit in the shooting phase only. So it's similar to the Space Marine one. I can't remember the name of it, but...
You also do it in combat phase. It's like downstairs, like it's really little down on it. It's like shooting and in the close combat phase.
Yeah, I missed that because all the others say use this stratagem in the shooting or the fight phase. So they've worded that. Yeah, so that will help in the fight phase as well. That's pretty decent.
Yeah, it's like some of these are seen like compared to Space Marines that had another caveat to like how the wording is like, why?
Yeah. Here's of Corruption. So all of you flail players out there, this allows damage to spill over. But when you look at most of the weapons, Daniel, not many of the weapons have 2 damage.
Yeah, Auto was like random because Death Row with the Man Reapers 2 damage.
True.
The Flame of Corruption, if Blight Lords. You mostly get use of it if like you heavy make a Plague Marine squad used to have a lot of damage, but like that squad is like near 300 points and you have like 2 flays, 2 Great Plague Cleave and 2 Maze of Contagion. That's like the 6 mod that's like, yeah, I'm gonna try to do a lot of damage here now.
Yeah, it's 2 CP. I don't see too many occasions when this one will be used, but it is still available if you need it. Next up is Eternal Hatred. When a bubonic start his infantry unit from your army is selected to shoot or fight until the end of the phase. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to the attack's wound roll. It's basically Veterans of the Long War, but it's 2 CP.
Yeah.
Mutant Strain we covered earlier. Diseased Effluence. Select 1 Death Guard character in your command phase and 1 enemy unit within engagement range of that model. The model suffers 1 mortal wound and you then roll 1d6. On a 2+, the enemy unit suffers 2d3 mortal wounds. If the enemy unit is a character, it suffers d3 mortal wounds. It's okay. You've got to take a wound, and then it's a 2+ to do damage. So it might not work. But it's okay. We've got Unclean Machine Spirit. Use it in your command phase. It counts your Demon Engine or vehicle as being on top bracket. So same as Power of the Machine Spirit from Space Marine book.
Yeah, except the only one that have a Death Guard Machine Spirit, I think, is the Land Rider.
Yeah.
So it's like, what?
Befouled Incubators. Use this stratagem in the fight phase when a Death Guard character model is selected to fight. And then each time an enemy model is destroyed by an attack, roll a d6. And on a 3+, the enemy model's unit suffers 1 mortal wound after your model has resolved all of its attacks. A maximum of 3 mortal wounds. Now, that is capped because of how much damage scythes can do.
Yeah, and also what happened before, like in the Salamanders had a stratagem that did similar thing, but what was a flamer that had 24 shots.
Yeah. We've then got a couple of other pieces as well. We've got Release the Toxins and Eruption of Filth. So both of them are used on characters. For Release the Toxins, use it at the start of the battle. Roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 7 of that model. And on a 2 to 5, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. On a 6, it suffers d3.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that one is just worded because it says using command phase, but the start of the battle, like it's more used to in a command phase. It's like it worded wrong.
Ah, right, yeah. In the command phase, select a character who had a relic at the start of the battle, basically.
Yeah.
For 2 CP, it's okay, but nah. We've got Champion of Disease and Gifts of Decay and Plague Chosen. So basically, you can give somebody a Warlord trait, you can give somebody an extra relic, and which was the other one? The
champion was a unit champion.
Yeah. So
But
again, very, very similar to Space Marine book and most other books out there that are getting this kind of treatment. An extra relic, an extra Warlord trait, give a sergeant something.
yeah, interesting is Space Marine, the stratagem to give a champion a command a relic. You can only use it once. Death Guard one, you can use it more than once depending how many points you're using.
I thought the Space Marine one was the same depending on how many points you were using.
No, it's only one.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. We've got Grandfatherly Influence for Chaos Spawn. You can add 1 to the toughness characteristics and again the Disgusting Resilience ability. So it's 2 CP if they've got more than 3 models. Sickly Corrosion I like. It's 2 CP. Use this stratagem in either the fight or shooting phase when a Death Guard model from your army makes an attack with a plague weapon. If it scores a hit, until the end of the turn, each time an attack is made by a Death Guard model against the enemy unit, reroll wound rolls of a 1. You basically turn your entire army into plague weapons against that one unit, which is good.
Yeah, Anata, I don't remember which army, but one army have a similar stratagem you can do that with, but I don't remember which faction had it. It was a long time ago.
Right. Belching Fumes is for Mephitic Blight Haulers. Each time an enemy model makes an attack with a ranged weapon against that unit, reduce the number of attacks made with that weapon by 1. It's 1 CP if you've got 2 Blight Haulers. It's 2 CP if you've got 3. Reducing the attacks by 1. Hello, Multi-Melters.
Multi-Melters, Eradicators.
Mm-hmm. It's useful if you've got Blight Haulers. Absolutely. Absolutely. Blight Bombardment was already covered on the community page. So if you've got the Lord of Virulence, it only costs 2 CP. Otherwise, it is 3.
And it's technically Orbital Bombardment from Space Marine.
Yeah, exactly. The Dead Walk again. Use this stratagem in your command phase and select a Poxwalker unit from your army and roll 7d6. For each 3+, one of the unit's destroyed models gets back up. You can only use it on a unit of Poxwalkers once per battle.
Yeah, a little sad, but trying to limit, rest all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Cloud of Flies. It's still the same as what it was, apart from they changed it ever so slightly. So if the target is within 12, then you can still shoot them, basically.
Yeah.
And it's 2 CP. Unless your squad is Terminators, in which case it's a whopping 4 CP. That's a lot.
And if you have the bodyguard ability, you lose it.
Yeah. We've got Break Their Ranks. Use this stratagem in the fight phase. When a Death Guard Terminator model from your army destroys a model in the enemy infantry, beast, or swarm unit, until the end of the turn, subtract 4 from the enemy's leadership. So you can force them to fail a morale with that, and then of course you've got all their modifiers for combat attrition tests as well.
Yeah, I think you can totally give, if you have a character, a warlord trait, you can give an enemy unit -6 in leadership and -2 contribution test.
Yep. Next up, we've got Dark Cravings. 1 CP. It allows a 40 bloat drone to perform a heroic intervention within 6 inches, which is pretty useful. We've got Demonic Gluttony for 1 CP. Use the stratagem in the fight phase when a Demon Engine model from your army is selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time an enemy model is destroyed by an attack with that model, the Demon Engine model regains 1 lost wound. That's okay.
It helps some units if you're fighting something slow Shaffy or Blight Haulers or something else that need some healing fast. But yep.
Absolutely. Flash Outbreak. Use the stratagem in your command phase. If there are any other Plague Company units from your army on the battlefield that have any contagion abilities that the selected unit does not have, then until the start of your next command phase, the selected unit has all of the same contagion abilities. Basically, it gives a unit in your army the same as the Warlord trait.
Yeah.
If you take one from the Plague Company. So for 2 CP, you can give everybody, for example, or give that one unit the -2 leadership. You can give it the extra AP. There's so many things that you can do with that, depending on which Plague Company you're running.
Yeah. And it also increases the turn for the contagion of 1 of these for your whole army.
Exactly, which is absolutely outstanding for 2 CP. So good. Putrid Detonation allows a vehicle to auto-explode. If it's got 9 or less wounds, it's 1 CP. If it has more, it's 2 CP. So Plague Bears Crawlers cost 2 CP to explode. Blight Haulers and Drones cost 1 CP. We've got Foul Smokescreen, which is basically smoke launchers. We've got the Blightning. Use it in your shooting phase and select 3 Death Guard models from your army. Until the end of the phase, Plague Weapons with the grenade type that those models are equipped with lose the blast ability and have a type characteristic of pistol 6. Each time that model makes an attack with one of those weapons against an enemy unit that is within engagement range, it automatically hits. That means that you can have 3 guys with pistols automatically hitting in combat.
Yeah, it's not nice, like mostly how the grenades have changed with this, like because this is the replacement of the old version of Blight Bombardment, made like all the units in a Playmore squad could throw the grenades.
Yeah.
And combine this with the Biologus Putrifier, you can technically throw 4 grenades from a unit, but except 3 is having auto hit 6 automatically and 1 having D6.
Yeah, which is so good. It's really good. We've got Overwhelming Generosity. Use the stratagem in a shooting phase when a Death Guard unit from your army is selected to shoot. Until the end of the phase, add 6 inches to the range of plague weapons. It's okay, but most units only have 1 or 2 plague weapons, unless you use Virulent Rounds, which turns bolt weapons into plague weapons. And then you can increase the range by 6 inches.
Yeah. But yeah, like people with the Blight Grenade, bomb with the drill, you still can do it, but it's not that strong anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we've got Disgusting Force, which is for Plague Burst Crawlers. Basically, the mortar has a damage characteristic of 3. And after you've shot, you can roll a dice for each other unit within 3 inches of the target unit. And on a 4+, they suffer 1 mortal wound. So if you've got something that's, surrounding several characters, you could potentially do lots of damage to the characters. So that is Codex Death Guard. I think it's a good book, Daniel. Nearly all the stratagems are useful, and I think a lot of the characters are very useful now. Plague Marines are good. Blight Lords, Death Shrouds are all good.
Yeah.
Demon Engines got a lot better.
Yeah, like every unit have a use. If you're liking a model, it's more useful now than before.
Absolutely. And Mortarion, man, he got good.
Yeah, and also now with this edition with the smaller table, you're gonna get close to the enemy. You're gonna be there.
Absolutely. Listen, I like this a lot from the Allegiance ability change. Yes, we lost the 5 of Shrug, but I think with everything else that we got, I genuinely think that Death Guard, it's a good book.
Yeah, like if we have new toys to use now, and we have faster speed play, except to take a play circle, you're still gonna have little small with long play with that. But
yeah, I genuinely think it's a very good book, and I'd be interested to see how many people actually field Mortarion now.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna use them for a while, then see what happens later. If they feel like it's something else better, do he do his points or whatever?
Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that he's obviously got the contagion abilities at 9 inches straight away, the fact he's got so many warlord traits, the fact that he's toughness 8, there's a good argument to take him now, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's still going to die in every game. He is. But you throw him forward, you start dishing out all of those debuffs, you keep him for, your main strike force or your hammer straight behind him, and his warlord traits go backwards to buff them whilst debuffing the enemy going forwards. Yeah, he's going to get a lot of shots. He's going to get hurt, but at the end of the day, he's going to support the rest of your army a lot more than what he used to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is Codex Death Guard. So, again, a massive thank you to Games Workshop for sending this over to us. And, of course, Daniel, thank you very, very much for reviewing the book with me.
Thank you for having me.
I look forward to see what you're going to be doing with the book.
Yeah, that depends. Even I'm just mostly been playing Crusade. It's like, what do Deshka gonna be doing Crusade? Interesting. But all the match play rules, nice, and it feels like refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So listen, guys, thank you very, very much indeed for watching. If you've lasted, to the end of this video, thank you very much. it's a long video. There's a lot of stuff in this book. But thank you very much for watching and listening. And we'll see you again very soon.